And it doesn't like to. Okay. So more, right?
No, you're good so far. Hit unmute.
Mute him? No,
Oh, he's in.
I have to allow for him to use his mic though.
And his camera. And then mute us. From- Oh, there you go.
Oops. Hello there, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, great. All right. So do we have Mr. Winters here yet?
We believe Matt Guest is Mr. Winter, but he hasn't turned on his mic.
Okay. Mr. Winter, if you're with us, can you let us know you're here? Yeah, your mic is off, Mr. Winter. You'll have to unmute yourself, which I believe the mic button is up in the upper right-hand corner of the screen here. Let's see. I guess we can't unmute him on our side, can we? Hmm.
We even enabled his microphone and his camera, but I don't know what's going on.
Okay. Let's see, is there a chat function on this one? I'm more used to Zoom, but I think, yeah, there's chat. So maybe Mr. Winter, if you are Matt Guest, you could on chat let us know that you're with us today.
Sorry, we can't use the chat function. It was disabled by
Okay.
our.
Okay. Well, he's raising his hand, so that means something. Maybe, is there somebody you can call at City Hall right now, kind of, so we can try to make this work?
Well, he's all enabled. He just needs to unmute his microphone and his camera. Jennifer, you're on mute.
Off too.
I was gonna say that the camera and the microphone should be on the upper right-hand corner of Mr. Wetter's screen, just to the left of the leave button, which is red. Next to the leave button going left is a disabled share, then the microphone, then the camera. So Mr. Wetter, if you could unmute your microphone and turn on your camera. Unless you're using this on a phone, then I don't know what it looks like.
Yeah.
On the phone, it's at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I keep getting a message says this person is a meeting guest and doesn't have a Teams account and can't verify their identity. I don't know if that makes a difference, but.
What if we could have it via phone?
Yeah, or at least have them call. I mean, is there somebody that has a cell phone maybe you could call right now, or just in the over at the Bonnie Lake offices, and so we at least know it's him? Are you trying to email him, Jason, or something? Is that what you're doing?
Shaylee's trying to see if we can find his email.
Or his phone number. I was gonna call him.
Okay, yeah, let's email or call him if you can. So, Mr. Winter, we're gonna, city staff's gonna try to call or email you, hopefully if that's you. See if you're there, and we'll figure out what to do from there. Yeah,
Call him if that's him. Is it enabled that he can call him?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's on a notice that was provided to Mr. Wetter, there's also a call-in option where he can just call in a phone number and be put into the meeting as well, without using the Teams app. And that was on the notice that was given to Mr. Wetter.
I just sent him an email asking if he's involved in the hearing.
The other thing is, Mr. Wetter, if the invite for Teams was on your calendar and you can open that invite, it does have a call-in number that is part of that invite. And it's long. I can recite it. It's I guess I'll recite it. It's 1 3 2 3 7 9 2 6 2 3 4 and then you wait for a prompt. And the code is 523344847 and I think someone just got on. Maybe he found it.
Yeah. Okay, we got somebody else there. Hold on a
They need to
second.
unmute though.
Oh, geez.
We enable them to be able to speak, but they have to, Mr. Rutter has to physically unmute his mic on his end. And there is a button at the top if you're in Teams where it says microphone or camera. You have to click those on and off. If you're using it on your phone, at the bottom of the phone, you have to kind of scroll up. There's a way to unclick to unmute yourself that way. We can't physically unmute his mic on our end, and he has the controls to do it.
And
Right.
he emailed me and said, yes, and I'm muted. I can't unmute. So I don't know.
Let me try to see, disable mic. Mic.
It looks like he has the control from my end.
I could just mute his mic. What do you mean call Katie? No, stop. Too late. Oh, should I answer?
Hmm.
Hey, Matt, Mr. Water, why don't you log out and then log back in? And when you come back in, I will try to unmute all of your mics again and see where we go from there. How to get rid of Sadie.
He said he can't speak on the call option either. Should I just call him? He sent his phone number.
Okay, he has to, we can't.
I mean, I guess we could invite him to come over to City Hall, right? Maybe reconvene in an hour or something. I'm assuming he lives close by.
I have another meeting at 11 o'clock.
Okay. Or I guess to another day, if we can't make this work.
Well, hopefully he can, I mean, we can even just put him on a cell phone so he can, if he can hear. Couldn't see anything, but he could hear.
Okay, so we're just waiting for him to try to log back in at this point. If that doesn't work, like I said, we might have to reschedule and just have him appear in person.
And Jason and Shaylee, you guys are muted. If you're trying to talk to us.
No, we're not trying to, we're just trying to figure out how we can get, yeah, why don't you call it?
Yeah, as Jennifer said, we could just put him on speaker on the cell phone, if worse comes to worse.
Yeah, that would be fine with me, as long as he can hear us.
Mhm.
Okay, can you,
Interact in any way, shape, or form.
all right, so are you logging back on?
Yes.
Okay.
And Brandy, can you make sure you enable his video too? Oh, yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
He just needs to unmute and turn on his camera.
Yeah. And again, Mr. Winter, that's in the upper right-hand corner. There's something that says MIC right next to the red
Hey,
leave button.
Phil,
Click on.
Phil and Jennifer, I've got Matt on the phone in here and he can't hear me when you guys are talking. So let me,
Oh, sorry.
let me work with Matt. I got him on the cell phone. We're trying to get him logged in.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Wetter.
Oh, there we go. I got my mic. My camera still won't let me, turn on.
Okay. Can you see the, what's going on our end, Mr. Winter?
Yes, I can see
Okay.
you guys, but you can't see me.
Okay, all right. And were you planning on presenting something on your screen or?
Yeah, I was. I've got, I'm gonna go ahead and hang up the call because it's like echoing, so. All right,
Okay.
cool. Yeah, I've got a letter from my civil engineer that I had hired him stating
Sure.
that he had tried to email through you guys' portal and called multiple times and never got a response. So I can email that to anybody if you'd like.
Okay.
Mr. Wetter, Mr. Wetter, you should have mic control now and camera control.
Oh, nice. Perfect. That's awesome. Great.
So if you can
There we
enable,
go.
There he is. Okay.
Success. I love it. That's good. Thank you.
Okay, well, let's get started finally then. All right.
All
For
right.
do we have the recorder going on? Yep, recording is started. Okay, it's February 23rd, 2024, 9:45 a.m. I'm Phil Alberts, hearing examiner for Bonnie Lake. We have a mitigation hearing this afternoon for Mr. Winter's appeal of a notice of civil penalty. And I just asked the parties for the hearing format, if we all agree Mr. Winter should go first, explain why it should be mitigated, let the city respond, and let Mr. Winter have final word. Does that work with everybody? Okay,
Works
I
for
think,
me.
yeah, sounds like it.
Fine
Yeah.
with the city.
Okay, good. All right. So let me put up the documents that the city has proposed as hearing exhibits. And we don't really have from what I recall, an exhibit list. So that makes it a little challenging to go over. And I had it up earlier.
Mr. Olbrecht, I did have a cover page for the exhibit list.
Oh, okay.
It should have been received. Do you want me to put it on well, you're gonna put stuff on the screen, but
Oh,
do you
can
have
go ahead.
that?
The exhibit list. I don't, yeah, no, I didn't have the exhibit list. I just have the exhibits. So.
Okay, let me share can someone enable sharing, please? Or at your end, you could put the exhibit list up. I know everyone should have it.
Okay.
I'll need to be able to share as well. So if there's a button to do that for everybody, that'd be great.
Let me see if I can.
You'll also need to email that. I mean, the hearing examiner will tell you, but if you're going to submit something, we also will need copies.
Oh yeah, of course. It's not a problem.
Send it out to
Yeah.
everybody.
I'm happy to I'll just email everything that I have to you guys as well. That's fine. That's no problem.
Thank you.
Of course.
Oh, sharing's on. Okay. So I will here is the exhibit list I provided to everyone. There's the cover. So the first exhibit was the notice of violation from 2018. That was about the unpermitted clearing in the shoreline. The second was a very detailed, 30 or 40 page report by the Bonnie Lake planner, Nate Schaldmeyer, dated November 18th, 2018, which had attachments A through G. There was a letter from Cascade Water Alliance. This is number 3, July 19th, 2021. Another letter from Cascade, August 24th, 2021. Email correspondence in September of that year between Cascade Water Alliance and Mr. Wetter. The license agreement, September 21st, with Cascade Water Alliance and Mr. Wetter. The next item, number 7, is the stop work order dated February 3rd, which was issued, and the notice of violation at number 1 was never appealed. The stop work order at number, where's the stop work? There we go. February 3rd, working without permits. That was also never appealed. Then there was email correspondence that same day at item 8. Item 9 is a March 22nd, 2023 notice of violation for work without permits, which was for the deck, installation of a door and a retaining wall. Also never appealed. Their notice of incomplete application, April 26, 2023. And then the issuance of this notice of civil penalty, October 27th, 2023, with the declaration of mailing. Those are exhibits 11 and 12. Exhibit 13, Mr. Wetter's appeal form, and exhibit 14 is his appeal notice, which went with the appeal form. So those are the exhibits that we pre-sent. At this time, I don't have anything more, but unless something comes up during the hearing and we submit something else, we would appreciate having all of these admitted.
Okay, Mr. Winter, have you received a copy of all those?
Yes, I did.
Okay, do you have any objections to their entering the record?
They can be entered into the, I don't
Okay.
see why they wouldn't be able to be entered into the record. Yeah.
Okay, I'll admit 1 through 14 then. And with that, Mr. Winter, you said you had a letter you wanted to get into the record? Do you want to get that in now? Get that one?
I do, yeah, I can go ahead and pull that up. I share my screen here.
Okay.
Mm.
And Mr.
Yeah,
Olbrecht, this is,
Hmm?
Mr. Olbrecht, this is Mr. Wetter. We have
Oh.
another case pending that's Winter.
Oh, that's
I
not
just-
me.
It's a little confusing. I just wanted to make sure that we're
Oh.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good point. That
Thank
could be a
you.
problem.
Oh, we didn't notice, but yeah, let me.
Yeah, WETTER.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, wow, this is really hard to read.
Is it pretty small on your guys' screen?
Well, I was trying to say, Mr. Winter, if you could email it to
Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah,
why don't
let
you
me,
email right now?
I think, let me just see here. Hold on one moment. I will pull this up. Let's see who all's on this. Is everybody on this one? So that, delete draft. And then go.
Yeah, I just sent out an email earlier to you today. You could probably just do a reply to all on that one.
Yeah, I was just looking to find this specific email real quick that I wanted to forward to you guys. Let's see. Goodness. Save forward. Let's try this too. And I'm sorry.
Mr. Wetter, if you send it to Shayla, we can get it forwarded on to Phil and Jennifer.
Okay, perfect. I'll do that right now. I'll send it. Let's go send. There we go. It's hiding behind the stop sharing button. All right. So that was the main thing. I've got some other pictures and some other stuff, but ultimately, like I guess I could just start with I'll just start with the deck and
Mr. Wetter, can you stop sharing your screen right next to
yeah.
the
yes, absolutely. Sorry.
Yeah, still dealing with
I'm-
your exhibit, Mr. Winter. I
Okay.
don't have it yet, so.
Not a problem.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
it-
It's not a problem. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And Mr. Sullivan, did you forward that to us already?
It just came through to Shayla. She's forwarded it on to everybody.
Okay, yeah, just give us a second so we can get it.
It's not a problem. I apologize. I should have had that teed up.
Oh, that's fine. Oh, there it is. Okay, so Ms. Robinson, do you have any objection over entry of this email?
No, I haven't, so has it been forwarded to me? I saw it on the screen.
No.
Oh,
Yeah,
here we go.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so I believe we're at exhibit 15, correct? This would be the email dated January 18th, 2024 from Karen Wickstrom to, I guess it's Mr. Wetter, right? Okay, so.
Yes.
All right, so that's admitted. Mr. Wetter, now let me swear you in. Just raise your right hand. Do you swear, affirm, tell the truth, nothing but the truth in this proceeding?
Yes.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
Perfect. Okay, so maybe I'll just go ahead and start with most recent and work my way back. I wasn't quite sure how exactly this meeting or how the format of all this was going to go, so I apologize if it's not how typically it would go. But basically, with the deck, starting with the deck, I made a mistake in thinking that I was within code regulations. I was not, obviously, because it was bolted to the house, and I didn't realize that that was something that was required, and I made a mistake. And so I did start in March trying to work on submitting permits myself. And then after trying to call and it taking about 2 weeks to get a hold of somebody in planning and building department, I came to the after like painstakingly submitting a permit plan that was not very good. I realized this was above my pay grade and I needed to hire somebody. And that's when I got Don Wickstrom. I hired him to do the to do the drawings for me. So he's a civil engineer. Immediately he came out, he looked at everything. I wanted to also do an extension onto the back of the deck, so it was more than just the front deck. He did some preliminary looking at, and then he had some questions that he wanted answered from the city. And he emailed through the portal, through your guys' portal, to try and get a hold of somebody. Nobody emailed him back. He then tried to call multiple times, to which he had no response from anybody. And then ultimately, in the end, he ended up I said, we need to get these plans submitted. So let's just go ahead and do what's best, and we'll make alterations as necessary. And that's about the time you can see the plans that were submitted. His engineer stamp is on them about the same time that the civil penalty was levied. The other thing is that the retaining wall is under 48 inches, which doesn't require a permit. And when I talked to the planning department, that it was under 48 inches, and they said, okay, well, when we come out to look at your deck permit, to look at what you've already done, we'll measure the wall then. I also told them that I didn't change any of the structure, the header. I didn't change the header above those. There were previously windows there, and I changed those to sliders because that's going to be a deck there, and I wanted a slider out there. And I didn't change the structural integrity of that beam. And I will email also the stamped civil engineer plans from Dawn saying that the header is sufficient for the slider underneath, which it's always been there. It's never been moved. So moving on past that stuff, with the waterfront, the reason why I wasn't willing to sign the agreement that he wanted me to sign was that I was being accused of doing stuff that I didn't actually do. What I did do, and I told him I did, was I did remove all the blackberry bushes that were on the property, and it was overrun with blackberry bushes. Now, there was pictures that he submitted from 2016, which is a minimum a year before I owned the property. And if the previous owner thinned out some of that vegetation, it wasn't me, and it was covered in blackberry bushes. What I did have happen was there was a storm one night, and one of the trees that he noted that came down fell down. And I can actually show you guys where that was at. So if you look down there, there's those center blocks, those big, huge blocks down there. And the tree fell right in that location. And that's also where the kids get picked up for school every single day. And so I had a tree guy out to cut up that tree. And he told me the tree right next to it is coming down the next time the wind blows. And I'm surprised that it didn't come down already. He said, I recommend you drop this tree. And I said, okay, go ahead and do it, not knowing that I needed to have gone to the city beforehand. And that's what I told Nate when I had that initial conversation with him. But then, I thought we had a fairly straightforward conversation when he approached me March 16th of 2018. And I told him, yes, I did have this one tree dropped, but the other one fell on its own. And what I've removed is blackberry bushes. And then And that was it. And then what he said to me was that I also graded the property, which I never did. And I'll tell you, I removed those blackberry bushes by hand quite painstakingly. And then that was what I did. And so in our communications back and forth, I basically, in the end, on a final phone call with him, which was after multiple emails back and forth, I said, I want to talk to somebody else because I'm not going to sign something saying that I did something I didn't do. And so I don't know if you have a supervisor or go ahead and send me to the prosecutor because I need to deal with somebody who's reasonable. And that's what I told him. And then I didn't hear anything from the city or anyone until I got a notice from Cascade Water Alliance, which I promptly dealt with. As you can see, it's been notarized, and that was in 21. So from 2018 to 21, I didn't hear anything. Now I see you guys have dates on here saying that these were noted violation dates, but I never spoke with anybody since that last email. I know it's in the list with Nate. But then there's like a notice of July 17th, 2020. I never received any notification of anything on that date. It was COVID. I was living at home. There's no way somebody came out here. I didn't see them. August 10th of 2033. I'm assuming it's just a typo. And then there's September 23rd, 2022, September 5th, 2022. And again, in those timeframes, I never received anything from the city after I squared away everything with Cascade Water Alliance. So I guess the reason why I'm saying is I told Nate that I was happy to plant a couple of trees. I was happy to mitigate what I did, which was take down that tree, but I wasn't going to sign anything that suggested that I went ahead and leveled the property or whatever. So that was why I was so reluctant to sign it. That's it. And I would have been willing to go through a restoration plan that said I needed to plant a couple of trees that I removed. But I guess that's kind of where I'm at. There is a code that stipulates there has to be one native tree per 300 square feet. And on that 1,800 square foot piece of property, there are 7 gigantic native trees on that property. But again, if what would resolve this issue would be that I go ahead and I plant a couple of trees down there, I'm happy to do it. But also as evidence that I did not cut these trees down for my benefit. It did nothing for like functionality or usability of the property. It did nothing for my view of any kind. I still have 7 huge trees that block the view from the house anyway. And if I were to have done it for that purpose, I would have cut down those trees, not the ones that weren't doing anything to block my view. So I have pictures that I had originally sent Nate of the rotted out tree stumps that literally had holes this big in them, which I'm happy to submit right now. I have the other factor. I know I'm just kind of going on, but literally every single year, the city comes down with a brush hog, reaches over the fence that is lining the water, and cuts everything indiscriminately all the way down to the water. Literally all the way down to the water. And then on the other side of the fence, which is leading up to my property, again, they indiscriminately take everything down to the ground. So when I removed blackberry bushes and a dead tree and a fallen tree, I'm being accused of a bunch of stuff I didn't do, but then the city comes by every single year and uses a brush hog and just indiscriminately cuts everything down. So I guess that's the reason why I feel as though I shouldn't be fined for this. I'm happy to work with you guys to plant a couple of trees. I already submitted plans for the deck. I've clearly made attempts to rectify everything up here, and I'm happy to rectify this down there. But again, like I said, I never received letters, emails, or phone calls or personal visits from that last conversation with Nate until I had that thing from Cascade Water Alliance, which I rectified, and then the stop work order. So, again, like I said, I'm happy to submit those, the pictures of the, after the brush hog had come by on either side of the fence and, road. Also, I have the the stumps with the ginormous holes in them, as evidence that the trees were clearly dead. So if you guys want those submitted, I'm happy to submit those.
Okay, well, that's up to you, Mr. Wetter. And I mean, you know, what city does on other property, I wouldn't find really relevant to your case, but the dead tree stumps possibly, if you want to get those photographs in, that's up to you.
So it
So-
wouldn't be relevant, that they reach over my fence with the brush hog and take the blackberry bushes and anything that's growing along the water right there, like literally right along the water.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying that it's your actions that we're
Yeah.
dealing with today, and that's what we're focused on. But
Okay.
again, I mean, if you want to get the tree stumps, do you have those now or
Yep.
what's?
Yeah, I've got them. I'll go ahead and email those to Shaylee right now.
Okay, all right. And Ms. Robinson, did you have any questions of Mr. Wetter? I take it, Mr. Wetter, you're finished with your testimony, is that correct?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's probably
Okay.
sufficient.
Okay, all right, Ms. Robinson.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Olbrecht. So, Mr. Wetter, let me just go to my questions for you.
Sure.
So I'm curious, you said that you're willing to plant more trees and do a restoration, yet you have never applied for a shoreline plan that was required in the 2018 notice of violation.
So like I said before, the reason why I didn't was because the last communication I had with Nate, I had told him I wanted to speak with either his supervisor or somebody who was willing to be reasonable, because I wasn't going to sign a thing saying that I did more than I did. Literally, like I said, I took down blackberry bushes and the one tree that fell, and then the other tree I had dropped because it was a hazard. And that's it.
So
I mean,
that wasn't my question.
Oh,
Why have you
okay.
never applied for a shoreline permit, which was required in the 2018 notice of violation?
because I asked him to have somebody from the city reach out to me. Like I left the ball in his court, in my opinion, was that I didn't realize